We're going to change it up today. We're not going to be so formal. Let's just kind of make this like a town hall kind of meeting, and we're going to interview Joey and talk about some of the things leading up to the night that he had his cardiac arrest. But mostly, we're thankful he is here. He's got family here. Joey and I graduated together here at Sylacauga High School. We were class of almighty 1990. And, you know, the night before this happened with Joey, we were planning our 35th class reunion. So a lot of our classmates were in town. Some were going to the ball game. I think Joey and I, when we were talking the other night, people that weren't even going to be at that ball game were at that ball game. Everything came together. God put people in place, and his life was saved. Before we get into everything about that night, we're going to just kind of talk about some of the statistics, let you know how prevalent sudden cardiac death is. Back in the day, as we call it, in the old days, we didn't see it. It still happened, but you didn't see it because we didn't have social media. You didn't have everybody uploading to TikTok and YouTube and all the social media outlets that we have now. It was always there. We just didn't see it. The thing that has made it different is the advancement in medications, the advancement in technology, having AEDs that are easily accessible in venues, at sports facilities, even in retail, shopping malls, retail shopping stores, supermarkets. AEDs save lives. It's proven, and we know it. And Joey is that walking, living miracle of it. And my heart is so happy to have him here today. His mom is here. She is, where are you at, Miss Shelnutt? Yep, that's Joey's mom, and I know she's probably the happiest one to have him here today. Some of our classmates are here from the class of 1990. He hasn't seen some of them. He has seen some of them, and everybody wanted to know this story because it's something that touches all our heart, and it's something that's very personal. Even if anybody in your family has coronary artery disease or doesn't, it can happen. It can happen to an athlete. It can happen to somebody completely no health history. So let's look at some of the statistics, and we will kind of go from there. Sudden cardiac death, there's over 350,000 out-of-hospital arrests that occur every year. That's what happened with Joey, outside of the hospital on the football field. That's approximately 1,000 a day. So 1,000 people a day in the United States, and he's one of them that survived it. 90% of them are fatal. They didn't have an AED, there was no bystander CPR, couldn't make it to the hospital in time, or just too massive, and they could not survive the event. The majority take place in homes, and it really does. How can we be better in our homes to recognize this? High quality CPR. CPR immediately given as soon as it is recognized is saving heart muscle, and it's putting oxygen through our bodies. CPR doesn't always require a certification. You can have what we call bystander CPR, that you just know the basics of what to do. Somebody collapses in front of you or somewhere where you are, and you have no idea. You go into this panic, fight or flight mode. That's what we do naturally. Our body gets way up here, and we're trying to slow it down to figure out what to do. So if you just know the basics as a bystander, it can help tremendously. Let's talk about just the important facts. We said 70% occur outside the hospital. 73% of those are in the homes. 16% are in public settings or venues. 11% in nursing homes. Men are more likely than women to experience sudden cardiac death. What can make a difference? If you have a sudden cardiac arrest, we always look at, is it witnessed or non-witnessed? Non-witnessed, you're probably not going to survive unless somebody walks in right after the event, finds you on the floor, unconscious, no pulse, and you look like you can't breathe. It's agonal, meaning real shallow respirations, or you're not breathing at all. Witnessed is good. That's what we want, witness. If you have a witnessed cardiac arrest, you want to immediately start CPR. Chest compressions are vital. I mean, they make a huge difference. Used to, we would focus on rescue breathing and compressions, But now there's even more priority on compressions, because if we can push deep enough that we are pumping blood, it's going to our vital organs and it's going to our brain. That's what we need, good quality chest compressions. While someone's doing CPR, if there happens to be a second person there, that's when you want to get an AED. So if you're in Walmart and there's somebody on the ground and there's only one person there, call for an AED. Somebody call 911, somebody get the AED. What is the AED? Automated external defibrillator. Those are made for anybody to be able to use. All you do is pop it open. I wish we had brought one. I didn't think about that. You pop the little box open and you connect 2 pads, and it shows you one on the chest here, one on the side. The only time you wouldn't want to connect the pads is if they're in a puddle of water. If it's outside, you would try to move them to a dry surface thing, because it's going to deliver a shock. The defibrillator then, once the pads are connected, you hit an analyze button, and it's going to see if there's a rhythm that can be shocked to bring your heart back to a regular rhythm. And what we mean by a shockable rhythm is not like on what is Grey's Anatomy, when they shock asystole. You don't have a heart rate, you can't shock it, okay? So it's truly looking for a rhythm that we can shock. It delivers a shock, and then you immediately continue CPR, chest compressions, until they're breathing, they're alert, and we can feel a pulse. So survival rates decrease by approximately 10% for every minute that CPR or an AED is delayed. That doesn't give you very many minutes to be down, does it? That's how crucial chest compressions and CPR are. Bystander CPR, 37% of sudden cardiac death are witnessed. The 19% of those have a shockable rhythm that an AED can treat. So only 19% have one of those rhythms that it can shock. The others may be a rhythm that's just really slow and it has a weak pulse, but it's not a shockable rhythm. And that's what the AED is doing for you. It's analyzing that. Next slide. What can cause sudden cardiac death or arrest? There are a lot of big words that we don't have to worry about going over. There are tons of different etiologies or causes of it. But let's just kind of break them down and look at them. Some of them can be caused by inflammation of the heart, just called a myocarditis. Others can be from a weakened heart muscle. If any of y'all have coronary artery disease, you know that a weakened heart muscle is when they're telling you your left ventricle or your heart's not pumping like it should be pumping. Uncontrolled hypertension, that can damage our heart. It can cause it to get enlarged, and when the heart gets so enlarged, it doesn't squeeze and pump effectively to push our blood flow through our body. Pulmonary embolism, those are blood clots that's in our lung arteries. We're having technical issues here. Pulmonary embolism. Can y'all hear me on the back? No. Pulmonary embolism, so blood clots in the arteries of your lungs. Arrhythmias, y'all heard Dr. Schultz, some of y'all, when you've been here with the cardiologist talking about atrial fibrillation. Well, there's also ventricular fibrillation. Joey and I were talking about that one night, and he said, what is that? And I said, it's when your heart's quivering. It's just sitting there. Instead of pumping like this, it's just quivering around like a bag of worms that are trying to get out. And until it gets shocked, that's what causes it to start back contracting regular and pumping blood out. You could have been born with a structural defect of the heart that you may not have known about at any time. That happens a lot with athletes that we're seeing on the news now, and then they come to find out they had a bad heart valve all along, and it caused them to have an arrest in the NBA or on NFL on the field, same thing. We're seeing it now, as we said, with more adults aged 25 to 44. There's new screening mechanisms in place, trying to get a better intake of what's going on with those younger athletes. But regardless, it happens. It happens to athletes, it happens to healthy men, it happens to healthy women. Next slide. What are the signs and symptoms of sudden cardiac arrest? Well, it may be none. You may have absolutely no signs leading up to it, no signs until it actually occurs. Some people do. They have pre-warnings with fainting spells, dizziness, racing or an irregular heartbeat, profound shortness of breath that's completely new for them. They never had it before. Chest pain, just excruciating mid-substernal chest pain. Elephant is on my chest. Nausea and unexplained fatigue. But any of these symptoms that are followed by collapse with loss of consciousness, the absence of breathing, and even seizure-like activity can be associated with sudden cardiac arrest. Coosa Valley ER, just like Joey, just like with many patients, you're brought to it and you're stabilized. We have 2 cardiology groups there that round, ACG cardiology and CVA cardiology. They have Birmingham offices and they give us a direct link to get to Birmingham to a higher level of care hospital where you can be treated, surgical intervention, cardiothoracic surgery, and pulmonary services are available there. But the main focus in the ER is to stabilize the rhythm, stabilize your vital signs, make sure you're oxygenated, and get you ready for transport. Our group that night did a fabulous job. I'm not sure anybody from the ER is here, but if they are, you deserve a huge hand. We could not continue to save lives without an emergency department that has the doors open 24/7 to treat. Rural hospitals, we're limited in what resources we have. You're seeing it on the news every day. Rural hospitals are closing down. They're turning to emergency services only, outpatient surgery centers. We are lucky. We're in a rural area with a rural hospital that has full inpatient, surgical, and emergency services. We have 2 fabulous cardiology groups. That is becoming few and far between right now with healthcare and reimbursement. It's just a struggle. You see it on the news, you see legislature talking about it and what we can do. So continue to support Coosa Valley. It's a wonderful place, and I know they've done wonderful things because I can look at you. So we are gonna talk to Mr. Joey Shelnutt, Mr. Sylacauga High School alumni class of 1990. Proud to say that again. But he is our 2025 cardiac arrest survivor. I want you to look. One of the first things I see when I look at these photos is Joey on the field. And that's actually him that night. And his other referee, Lou Murphy, who they have refereed together, I think, for about 15 years, was the first one. He said that he came to the sideline, and we'll talk about that, but he's actually the one doing chest compressions on him right there. If anybody in here, my nurses, I know, they can look and tell he's doing high quality, good chest compressions right there. He's your guardian angel, there's no doubt. The bottom picture is when Joey, after he had had his bypass surgery. So he has come a long way, and we're gonna kind of talk about the events of that night and what he's doing now and what he plans to do in the future, okay? So everybody give a round of applause for Joey. In high school, he was kind of the big football player, the gentle giant, the quiet one, but always the nicest guy. There's not that many people you can always say that about. I think Miss Carlton, one of our school teachers, she's here. And I mean, Joey was just that roundabout guy. I mean, just the nicest friend and everybody's friend. So seeing him here and being able to talk about what we can do, and he's got big hopes of what we can do moving forward to better educate not only our community, but the sports throughout the state. He's got some big plans, and any way we can support him, of course, we're going to do that as well. So let's look back, Joey. It was the night of August the 22nd. This was the season opener for Sylacauga High School versus Coosa Central. You were the line referee, so you would spot the ball, is that correct?
It's called umpire.
Yes, umpire. Well, I thought umpire was baseball. So, I'm like referees, umpires, but he's been doing the umpire for about 15 years now. And that night going into it, he was feeling fine. First thing I asked you, did you have any symptoms or any pre-warning signs, say 2 weeks leading up to that night?
I actually had no warning signs or anything that would have led up to me knowing about the heart condition that I had. But I mean, this was just crazy how it happened. And not that I didn't have any symptoms or anything like that. No shortness of breath or chest pains like you said earlier. But I just thought it was just a normal day.
And for him, it was. That's the scary part. That's the sudden cardiac arrest with no warning signs. One of the most fatal that we were looking at in the statistics. So we asked, I said, Joey, have you ever had a cardiac evaluation?
I've really seen a heart doctor once or twice, and I've had 2 stress tests, and both stress tests said the same, that I had an enlarged heart, and they both said it's from being an athlete. So, both stress tests I passed with flying colors, but this last stress test was really, really rough.
Yeah, there's no doubt this one was rough. Prior to that, I asked Joey, I said, do you have a regular physician? Which he does.
Yeah, Dr. Swearings, Silicon Family Health is my regular physician, and I see him twice a year because I have diabetes.
And how long have you been diabetic?
6, 7 years.
Okay.
Something like that.
Diabetes and heart disease kind of go hand in hand. So if you're been diagnosed with one, always follow up with the other. Remember, in healthcare, be your own advocate. Always talk to your doctor. Should I have a cardiac evaluation now? I'm diabetic. See what he says. If you haven't, you surely need to have one. And which Joey had. He had had a stress test, passed it with flying colors, but yet we still had sudden cardiac arrest. So let's talk about the second quarter of the ball game that night. You had been running up and down the field, I suppose, because that is a huge workout. You were getting ready to go spot the ball. Is that correct?
Yes, it was correct.
What happened then?
I spotted the ball, and like I've said before to many different people, I felt like I rose up too fast and caused me to be kind of lightheaded or woozy. But I mean, like I told you, I wasn't dizzy because dizzy is spinning. Mm-hmm. And the head referee was waving me off of the ball, and I threw my little finger up to give me a second, and about 4 or 5 seconds later it went away, and I just remember backing away from the ball, and that's when Lou said he thought I tripped over a player. But when I hit, he knew then it wasn't a trip. He knew I passed out.
So immediately, Lou Murphy, who was the other umpire, had ran over to him, and he immediately started CPR. So thank goodness he was there, he was on the field, he knew what to do, and he started it. Do you remember waking up on the field?
No, I do not. I don't remember anything that happened after. I don't even remember passing out, just being honest. I remember waking up in the emergency room and with my mom and my sister sitting right there.
And what did they tell you?
Oh.
Well, they didn't want to tell you at first.
No.
They were too scared. So
this is the funniest story you probably ever hear. I'm sitting there and I wake up and I see him sitting over. I look down and I'm half naked. I said, where's my shirt? And my sister, she's a smart aleck. Anybody that knows my sister, she said, why? And I was like, because I'm naked. And then I said it again. I said, where's my shirt? She said, why? I said, because I got to go back and finish calling this football game. And my mom, she said, son, I don't think you're calling any football games. But she said, you got other stuff to worry about instead of getting back there. I said, okay then. My sister said, well, there's your shirt. Just by your side. And I picked it up. I said, they cut my shirt. Oh, Lord. Y'all don't know, but them shirts cost some money. They're they're not exactly cheap.
But not only did they cut the shirt, they cut...
My headset wire, my undershirt, it's Under Armour. And I'm like, I sat there and looked at my mom and said, I'm out $180. She said, son, you're going to be out more than that before this is over with. So I said, okay, then I take your word for it. So they got me calmed down and everything.
So then, did you remember anything about the field, or you just truly remember waking up in the ER and looking at it?
No, I do remember pregame, and I remember the first quarter, and after it ended, we went to the other end of the field, and just a couple plays in the second quarter is what I remember.
Once he was stabilized, of course, he was transferred to Grandview. When he got to Grandview, they had to run a lot of tests. You don't just immediately go back for open heart surgery. So they do an echocardiogram, which just checks the heart muscle and the structural part of your heart, kind of your plumbing, to make sure it's pumping good, there's no clots in it, and that the heart valves look good. He had that done. He had a heart catheterization to see where blockages were. And originally, I think they told you were going to have 3, maybe, bypasses, but you ended up...
Said, right, they said I was supposed to have a triple bypass. But, Dr. Richardson was the surgeon, and when he said he got inside, that there was just 2. He said the third one was really fine, and I didn't need to worry about that, so...
Heart muscle was good.
They're very excellent. He said there was no damage to my heart. I actually had a healthy heart.
Good deal. John Richardson was his cardiothoracic surgery, and he said he had also performed surgery on family members of his in the past. And can't imagine that. Those were like 20-something years apart.
Yes.
And he is doing surgery on his family member and then on Joey. So fabulous surgeon. I have scrubbed in with him before. I worked cardiology. I told Joey that's been my passion for years. When I got out of nursing, I went to work for a cardiologist who pushed me to go back to nurse practitioner school, to do more, to be more. My first master's, I went back and I got nursing education, and I taught at Auburn while I was going back to get my nurse practitioner, but once I got in, I knew where I was supposed to be. I love healthcare, I love treating my patients, I love educating my patients, and I love miracle stories like Joey. And you see that in cardiology, and you get to follow them, and there's probably nothing any more rewarding than seeing somebody come back in and walk in when they've experienced sudden cardiac death or a huge MI, either one. So that's the part of healthcare you love. When you work in healthcare, everything that you read is going to be the bad, the big, bad, and ugly, the complaint that my food was cold, or the nurse was rude to me, or my trash wasn't carried out, and I don't like this doctor or this hospital. But none of that ever matters, because for us as a provider, when you get a story like Joey, you know that's made all the difference, and it's just wonderful to hear. So Joey was in Grandview, and he went there on 8/22 that night, and he stayed until, was it the day after Labor Day?
September the 3rd.
September 3rd. Did you have and progress daily? Were they telling you, hey, he's up walking, you're up moving, everything as expected?
Yeah, the day after surgery, they had me walking.
Yeah, good.
And I told I probably shouldn't have said this, but I told the physical therapist not to take it easy on me. I was tough. She didn't take it easy on me.
Well, a humorous thing in the middle of all this, when we graduated high school, Joey went to play football at Jacksonville State. And I said, well, what position did you play up there? Because I didn't know, and obviously I don't know umpire from referee. So he was like, I just knew he was a big old defensive lineman. Didn't know the exact position of that. And he said, well, they moved me to offensive guard. And I said, really, why? Here, you just tell him your response.
I said, they moved me to offensive guard. She says, why? I said, because I was too slow.
So you got this big old guy, athletic, in great shape, but he was too slow. They moved him. But in the recovery phase, he was not too slow. He was motivated. He's your ideal patient. I want to get up. I want to walk. I want to move. I want to go. And that's what he did. I think post-operatively had a very common, just kind of complication, which was atrial fibrillation. Dr. Schultz has talked about that before. It's just where the top chamber of the heart squeezes before it connects to the bottom of it, and it gets irregular. And that's common after open heart surgery because the heart's being reperfused. Think about it. Your heart's got plumbing and it's got electricity. So you want both of them back working together. So it's common when you get new blood flow through the heart to see that abnormality. And he was like, yep, that's what they told me to. So Joey did great. He got home. And since you got home, what lifestyle modifications have you made?
Basically, not eating as much fried foods as I used to because of
Heart healthy diet.
Heart healthy diet is what they had me on in the hospital. We've been continuing that, and I even try to get my mom and dad to eat better too. If I
They're
gotta
Italian.
Do it, they got to do it. So, oh yeah, Italian.
Yeah, they're Italian. That's
pasta
hard.
every night, and that just hurts
Bread.
my feelings. Yeah.
But we made lifestyle modifications. You started eating healthier, and then you started increasing your activity, I hear.
Yeah, I did. I started walking. We got home September the 3rd, I say 4th, 5th, on the 6th, I think it was a Saturday. I was ready. I just ready to get out of the house. I was like, let's go to Walmart and walk. So I said, I got a buggy just in case, because Walmart ain't got places to sit down. And I walked for 20 to 25 minutes, and my body gave out. I said, I can't go no more. But then, each day we got out of the house, went walking, and it just ain't Walmart. And because it was so hot, September and August, it's so hot, we just walked in a controlled environment, and like Hobby Lobby, Publix, Walmart, Home Depot, none of them had an issue with me walking. And it went from 20, 25 minutes a day to 35, and then 40, 50, and I said, well, I'm gonna try to walk a mile. Got to do it a mile, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna go for a mile and a half. Just progressed, and I think the other day I walked 5 miles.
Good deal, good deal. And that's a huge milestone. I think people often think that after you've had a cardiac event that you're supposed to be running some kind of marathon or doing all this heavy, just strenuous exercise. You don't. American Heart Association is always one to promote constant, uninterrupted walking, 30 minutes or greater, 5 days a week. And you don't have to be walking anywhere, like Walmart, Publix, a walking track. Doesn't have to be on heels. Just walk 30 minutes or more, 5 days a week. If your joints don't let you do that, water aerobics is a huge thing. Of course, I don't think we have a pool here now right now to do water aerobics, but that is something that you could do on your joints as well. So, Joey, you started doing that. I hear you took your mom on your walks with you, so she's getting cardiothoracic workouts now too, and you're both exercising regular.
Oh yeah,
I
told her if I was walking, you're walking with me, because you need it just as bad as I do. So.
And you've gone back to work now.
I have.
So when you're working, how has that changed your day? What are you doing different while you're off?
No, it hasn't really changed my day. It's just I go to work and come back, and then I ask Mom, "So you ready to go walk?" So even though I walk a little bit at work, it's not a whole lot, but we get home, we go walk. So I'm not going to quit walking.
What advice for everyone here would you give them about being aware of your health status?
See your doctor for one, because even if you don't think your body's right, you never know. Say go if you just say I need to check my heart out, or if you don't have if you think, and I used to think this all the time too, I would have a little pain or something, and I'm like, well, it'll go away or something like that. But you never know what it is. So especially now, if something I'm calling, hey, what is this? And I need to get in to see you, something like that.
And he will see cardiology. He'll continue to see them, and you'll continue to see Dr. Swearingen.
Yes.
So you got your regular physician appointments where they'll reevaluate you each time. Also for your children, your grandchildren, remind them that same thing, that, get regular checkups once a year. There's health maintenance, there's diagnostics, there's screenings that you need to have done at those set ages in life. So remind your family. Joey's probably the age of some of your children, your brothers, your sisters, for us as a classmate. So we all need to be doing that, be more aware of our own body. So after this experience, what protocols are you hoping to see change that may be something you're going to lobby for in the future?
I've talked with the director of officials from the state of Alabama, Alabama High School Athletic Association, Ken Washington. I've talked with him several times. I said I think it would be a very valuable and great idea if every official that's in the state of Alabama was to learn CPR, because you never know, like what happened to me that night, you never know when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. And there's some very rural areas that you go call football in. You probably 45, 50 minutes from the closest hospital or doc in a box, if it's open at that time of the night. But I've been saying, because I said, you look at Lou knew CPR, but if all the officials did it and learned it, then if you're off in a rural area and something like that happens, that player or adult or whoever would have a better chance of surviving. And I've also mentioned it with our local association. We usually have our first meeting on the first Monday after the 4th, and I was like, hey, I can get the American Heart Association in here 2 weeks prior to get us certified in CPR if y'all would want to, but I don't know if they made a decision on that yet or not, but I think it's important.
Well, we will be happy to help in your endeavor. Write a letter, call, make phone calls, text, aggravate somebody with emails. We'll follow through with it. That night on the field, we were talking about God placed people there to take care of Joey that saved his life. Lou Murphy, if anybody knows Lou Murphy, hug him every time you see him. If you ever see Lou Murphy out, if I see him at a game, I'm going to hug him. He was the first one. He also had a fireman from, I think it was Sylacauga's Fire Department, Clint Payton. He was in the stands, and Joey said they told him later that he and his wife had even debated going to the game or not. But for some reason, he came on and went to that game. He came out of the stands and went down on the field and helped Lou with CPR. And then there was a registered nurse, Wendy Higginbotham, and she was on the stands on the opposite side, I think at Coosa Central, watching someone in the band, and she went on the field.
Her nephew was playing that night, what she said.
So he put the right people in the right place. He got to where he needed to go, and it has saved lives. Sudden cardiac death, he's one of our 1,000 that happened every day that lived through it, and hopefully moving forward, we can touch more lives. You want your children, your grandchildren, yourself, if you're going and traveling to a ball game, wouldn't you want an AED there and somebody that knows CPR on that field? I think that's a great platform. I think he's chosen something that can be handled, and I think it'll make a huge difference, no doubt.
Yeah, you said about having an AED there. Elizabeth Webb was somewhat behind us in school. She's the vice president for a company that makes the AED, and she got in touch with me and said that she got in touch with the athletic director at Sylacauga, and wanted to give Sylacauga 2. And I'm like, I said only and in my name, I said the only way I want to be a part of this is if you would give Sylacauga 1 and give Coosa Central 1, because they were witnessed everything that night too. Yeah. I said Sylacauga is more financially stable than Coosa Central is. Yeah. I said they needed more than Sylacauga. Yep. And she's still working on that. So
good. See, good things are coming out of this, and that's what you always hope for. If we reach one person, save one life, save anybody moving forward in the future, then everything you're doing is for purpose. And I think one thing you don't ever have to worry about, there's a purpose for you. That's why you're here.
Yeah, God put me here for a reason. We're gonna find out what it is.
He did. Let's give Joey a big round of applause. And thank you for sharing your story. And thank you, Ms. Shelnutt, for coming and for having this fine young man and letting him share his story with us all. I think the last thing is that I, usually when I do this program, I hide a door prize. So I've been spotting my little sticker, but I didn't have a notepad. So that would be you, Miss Carlton, as it comes back around too. You see this little white envelope that's in front of you and there's tape on it. You're gonna have to get it off the front of you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she's our surprise chair winner. That goes to Miss Carlton. Back over to Vanessa. Thank you for letting us tell this story and how special it is to all of us.
Let's give another big hand for that season of miracles. You know, how the community came together, to me, is one of the most touching stories for our community. How all those people came together and worked together. So something for us all to think about this Christmas season for sure, and to celebrate. Oh wow, we've got a lot to celebrate.